who only thought of himself and never of his subjects and followers. It is said that he would turn a deaf ear on any of their requests for help or advice. And the king had the very strange habit of wearing a cap pulled down tightly over his head wherever he went. He wore it when he ate, when he took his weekly bubble bath, and even when he slept. Strange rumors began. Some thought the king was bald, and others said it was just to cover up the hole in his head.
No, that's not it. He has horns like the devil himself.
Well, these were nothing but rumors and idle gossip, because no one had ever seen the king without his cap. No one, that is, except the barbers who cut his hair. But they weren't talking because no barber that ever entered the castle was ever seen again. Finally, the only barbers left in the town were an old man who'd retired 20 years before and a young man who was just beginning his profession. So it wasn't long until this new barber, too, was summoned to the castle. The new barber had expected this, but not so soon. When the barber entered the king's chamber, he found him seated in front of a large mirror.
Well, don't take all day.
Huh? Oh, right away, sir. Excuse me, Your Highness. May I?
What's the matter with you, boy? Perhaps you see something funny about my ears.
Why, no, Your Highness. They look quite fine and natural to me.
Then get on with it, boy.
Yes, sir.
The new barber could hardly hold back the laughter as he worked. Why, those were the funniest ears he'd ever seen in his life. But he knew that if he did let out a laugh, he'd be thrown in the dungeon, or worse, quick as a flash. But even so, it wasn't easy to keep from laughing.
Are you sure you don't think my ears are a little longer than normal?
Why, no, not at all.
Well, at least I've found an honest man. I hereby appoint you the royal barber. But, and remember this well, if you tell anyone about my ears, you'll regret it.
When the new barber got back to his shop, he found it overflowing with business. But to tell you the truth, his customers were more interested in hearing about the king than they were about getting their hair cut.
Is it true that the king has a hole in his noggin?
No, that's not it.
Come on, you can tell us.
But if he did, he knew it was curtains.
Please, I just can't tell you. Those ears!
Hey, you laughing at my donkey?
No, it's just that...
They say nothing is harder than keeping a secret, and the poor barber thought he was going to burst if he didn't tell someone. But when he tried, nothing came out. In fact, he began to swell up like a balloon.
Never seen anything like this before.
The king's ears are done.
I think I see now. You've got something to say and you're afraid to let it out. This is very serious, but I think I have the solution. Just tell me what it is, and then you can...
No, I just can't. If I told you, I'd be a goner for sure.
I see. Well, why don't you find some deserted spot, dig a hole, and then shout whatever it is there?
The barber took the doctor's advice and went to the farthest valley and began digging.
The king has donkey's ears! The king has donkey's ears! The king has donkey's ears!
And when he'd done, sure enough, the swelling had disappeared. He felt as good as new. And so, from that day on, when he could hold back no more, he'd simply find a deserted spot and shout out his secret. He used the hollow of an old tree.
The king has donkey's
But not long thereafter, a most strange thing happened. A plant began to grow from the barber's shouting hole. One day, a shepherd was passing by and decided to make a flute out of a reed from the plant. But when he began to play, the shepherd couldn't believe his own ears and began to blow again.
That's enough. Now tell me where you got that flute.
Well, you see, I found it and brought it straight to you, Your Highness. Don't worry, I haven't told a soul, and now I'd like to present it to you.
Fool! Guards, throw this knave into the dungeons and feed him on bread and water. And bring me that barber!
The barber pleaded with the king and swore that he had kept his word and not told another living soul about the king's ears.
You may not have told another living soul, but you did tell the trees, the river, and even the very ground seems to know about it. And now I'll have your head for it.
What? Oh, no!
It looked pretty bad for the barber, but at the last second...
Stop!
Yikes!
Did you hear something? I was sure I heard something out there.
The king's long ears were most sensitive, and he was positive he heard something. And sure enough, from the tallest castle tower, a strange song could be heard floating on the breeze.
The king has donkey's ears.
The king has donkey's ears.
That's right. The reed plant had begun to repeat the barber's words.
The king has donkey's ears.
And the tree, and even the river,
The king has
their
donkey's
strange song grew and grew until it could be heard by everyone. It was even repeated by the bell in the church tower.
The king has donkey's ears. The king has donkey's ears. The king has donkey's ears.
Stop it! Somebody stop that noise! I can't stand it anymore! I'm finished! No one will ever respect me now! Have you ever heard of anything as ridiculous as a king with donkey ears?
The barber was surprised to see that the cold-hearted king had emotions and could feel human after all. It was so sad to see him like this.
Your Highness, you shouldn't feel embarrassed just because you were born with bigger ears than most of us.
What? I know you're just saying that to cheer me up, but everyone's sure to laugh at me.
Not if you use them correctly.
For the first time, the king realized that ears were for listening and not for looking at, so he called his people together.
My loyal subjects, your king has the ears of a donkey.
Can you believe that?
I was a fool, and it took a barber to convince a king that all great leaders must have large ears to listen to the hearts of their people. I promise to always be ready to listen to your advice and your complaints. I need your opinions to help me rule this land. This king will never turn a deaf ear again.
And from that day forward, no one ever teased the king behind his back about his big ears. He became a good and wise ruler, and his subjects prospered as they had never done before.